Alrighty, everyone. We're gonna get started with our HeatSmart Southern Tier webinar, and I'm gonna hand it off to Jaden to get us started.
Great. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. My name's Jaden. I'm an Energy Corps intern with the Network for Sustainable Tomorrow. Our team consists of Adam Flint, who is our Director of Clean Energy Programs, Elijah Conlin, our Sustainability Coordinator, and then we're joined with Carlos, Kenji, Noah, and Fatima, who are also Energy Corps interns. So starting us off, who are we? So the Network for a Sustainable Tomorrow is a nonprofit organization located in Binghamton. We work with community partners to generate social, environmental, and economic justice and equity in the greater Binghamton area. So as part of our mission, Nest strives to catalyze new initiatives as well as doing outreach and education to support the growth of a stronger and more resilient Southern tier. So HeatSmart Southern Tier is one of the many programs that Nest has to offer. As you can see here, we have many different programs such as Southern Tier Solar Works and Binghamton Community Power. But today we'll be focusing on HeatSmart Southern Tier. So here's an overview for what we'll be presenting on today. So first we'll be going over what HeatSmart Southern Tier is and how it works. Then we'll discuss weatherization and heat pump technology. And then we'll talk about what incentives and financing opportunities are available for this technology and how to get started. So lastly, we'll go over some other opportunities to use clean energy and we'll finish up with a Q&A. So if you have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat or unmute during the Q&A. So first off, what is HeatSmart Southern Tier? Okay, so this program is one of the several state campaigns to connect the public with local experts in clean energy technologies. So NYSERDA is the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority, and they are supporting communities across the state to implement community-based outreach and education programs for clean heating and cooling technology. So HeatSmart Southern Tier operates in Broome, Tioga, Shenango, and Delaware counties. We work through this program to educate you all on sustainable heating and cooling through workshops, tabling events, and webinars just like this one. So why do we need HeatSmart Southern Tier? So let's take a look at where we stand now in terms of greenhouse gas emissions. So this diagram shows the primary sources of greenhouse gas emissions in New York State. So as you can see, heating and cooling buildings accounts for about 32% of emissions. So it's our aim to reduce this proportion by promoting and enabling people to switch off of fossil fuels and onto more efficient clean energy technologies. So some of the biggest draws to participating in the HeatSmart Southern Tier program are the individual benefits. So installing the clean energy technology can help to reduce your energy costs while also increasing your home comfort and safety. You can also make a positive contribution to your local and global communities by reducing greenhouse gas emissions and increasing awareness about the importance of clean energy. So the technologies we promote mainly deal with weatherization and heat pumps. So the goal of weatherization, such as insulation and air sealing, is to protect your home from the outside elements in order to maximize energy efficiency. So heat pumps are technologies that provide clean and efficient energy that you can use for heating and cooling your home. So our program focuses on ground source, air source, and heat pump water heaters. So we'll talk more about these technologies in the next few slides. So for all of the clean energy improvements I mentioned on the last slide, we're partnered with contractors to get that work done. So for weatherization projects, we can connect you with the installation man. For ground source heat pumps, we can connect you with NP Environmental or Daily Geothermal. For air source heat pumps, we can connect you with MP Environmental, Air Source LLC, or Rycor. However, with Air Source LLC, we can only refer you if you're a market rate customer, as they are handling market rate clients at the moment. All of these contractors are certified by NYSERDA to install the clean energy technologies. So it's not required to work with these installers, but we have a strong relationship with them and we can vouch for the high quality of their work.
Hi everyone, I'm Kenji, and as Jaden mentioned in the beginning, I'm another Energy Core intern for Nest. And in this next section, I will be talking about some HeatSmart technology. So the first thing I will be talking about is weatherization, which is the first step of our HeatSmart program. So looking at the diagram on the right, you can see the common air leaks found in a home. The red arrows represent hot air escaping through the attic, and the blue arrows show cool air getting into the house through the basement or wherever from leaks and drafts. So what weatherization does is it protects buildings from these air leaks through insulation and sealing. So not only does it make your home more comfortable by reducing the amount of air leaving and entering your home, but it also reduces the need to burn fossil fuels or use electricity for temperature control. So this means that it optimizes energy efficiency. So it's always a good idea to weatherize your home, whether you're getting heat pumps or not. So if you have concerns about temperature regulation, ventilation, air quality, or dealing with moisture problems, these are all good reasons to look into weatherizing your home. So what are the benefits of weatherization? Well, for one, weatherization reduces your energy consumption and costs. So how does it do this? Well, with a tightly sealed home, there's a lower chance that any heat will leak out of your home and that unwanted cool air will infiltrate it. So because the heat is being kept inside your home, less energy will be needed to maintain a comfortable indoor temperature. Secondly, weatherization increases the safety and comfort of your home by reducing drafts, improving humidity control, improving air quality, and reducing the risk of ice dams. So overall, weatherization makes your home a lot more comfortable to live in and more energy efficient. So now onto heat pump technologies. So heat pumps are an alternative system for heating and cooling your home. While traditional systems use fossil fuels, heat pumps use electricity, and they offer a more sustainable way to heat and cool your home. So this diagram shows how heat pumps work. There's always heat in the air and in the ground, even in the winter. So heat pumps simply move that heat into a space or out of it using a compressor instead of burning fossil fuels to produce heat. So basically, this technology will move heat into your home in the winter and out of your home in the summer using electricity. Uh, refrigerators actually use the same type of technology. So if you have a refrigerator, you actually already have this type of technology in your home. So there are three types of heat pumps that we'll cover tonight. Ground source heat pumps, air source heat pumps, and heat pump water heaters. While ground source heat pumps can heat domestic hot water, uh, air source heat pumps must be paired with a heat pump water heater. But we'll cover that later in a few slides. So the first heat pump I'll go over is the ground source heat pumps. So ground source heat pumps are also known as geothermal heat pumps. So how they work is about 6 feet below the ground is a very stable temperature. And what geothermal systems do is they circulate a fluid in pipes below the ground, and this transfers the warm energy from the ground into this fluid. And then heat is then concentrated through electricity and compression, and then circulated through your home. So what's also cool about this is that during warmer months, the process works in reverse. So instead of transferring heat from the ground to your home, heat is instead taken from your home and then transferred into the ground, keeping your home cool. So as you can see in the two diagrams below, there are two different types of closed loop ground source heat pumps, horizontal and vertical, which refers to how the pipes are placed into the ground, either horizontally like on the image to the left or vertically like on the right, as the name suggests. So to know if it's better for you to have a horizontal or vertical system, it's important to get an energy assessment done by an installer. So now we'll go over the benefits of having ground source heat pumps, which include having a positive effect on the environment, lowering your energy bill, and having a safer and more comfortable home. So this system is very efficient in heating and cooling your home. Because ground source heat pumps directly transfer heat between the ground and your home rather than generating it, they're much more efficient than conventional heating and cooling systems. And on top of that, ground source heat pumps are pretty long lasting. The underground loop system of ground source heat pump can last over 50 years, and the indoor components typically last from 20 to 25 years, making them one of the longest lasting HVAC systems available. They also require minimal maintenance, which also saves you more time and money on repairs. And because it can include heating domestic hot water, it can completely eliminate fossil fuels in your home, meaning no more expensive oil and gas deliveries in the middle of the winter, which is always great. Now we'll move on to air source heat pumps. So these work similarly to ground source heat pumps, but instead they take heat from the air and pump it into your home. These are typically ductless systems and don't require underground pipes like the ground source heat pump. And because of this, installation of air source heat pumps are typically quick and easy, and they're a great option for homes without existing ductwork or where extending ductwork isn't really feasible for you. So air source systems consist of one outdoor unit, which is linked to one or more units inside your home. And these outdoor units come in various styles, or rather the indoor units come in various styles, as you can see on the slide, to fit different aesthetics and cost preferences. So there are wall-mounted units. These are a very common option. They're mounted high on the wall for optimal air distribution. The ceiling cassette units, these are recessed into the ceiling, which makes them great for saving space. There's the floor-mounted unit, which sit low on the wall like traditional radiators. And then the mini duct systems, which use small flexible ducts to distribute air, making them a good choice for homes that need a more centralized approach without needing full-sized ductwork. So now for some more benefits. So air source heat pumps are also very flexible. They allow for zone control in your home. If you'd prefer, you don't have to install units in every room. Just one or two heat pumps can efficiently heat or cool spaces. And as I mentioned before, air source heat pumps can allow you to have air conditioning without the ductwork. So this allows for quick and easy installation, and this makes it a perfect option for homes without existing ductwork. And lastly, these heat pumps are known to be pretty quiet, so you won't hear loud fans or anything like that. They'll be barely noticeable. So the last technology that we'll cover here tonight is heat pump water heaters. So heat pump water heaters are basically an electric water heater with an air source heat pump on top. So like I mentioned earlier, they're usually paired with an air source heat pump where it pulls in heat from indoor air to heat the domestic hot water. So many times heat pump water heaters come with a backup heating system that automatically kicks in when the demand is high, which ensures that you always have hot water when you need it. And they're very beneficial to install because they are much more efficient than typical electric water heaters. And one unique advantage that they have is that they help dehumidify indoor air as they operate. So because they extract heat from the air, they naturally reduce humidity levels, which can be especially beneficial for any place that's prone to excess moisture. So it can make those spaces less damp and overall more comfortable to be in. Right, so now I'll pass it off to Carlos, who will talk all about the financing of the technologies I just covered.
Hello, I'm Carlos. I'll give an introduction to the financing of these technologies. Everyone wants efficiency and lower heating cooling costs, but with finances being such a large factor, they can often be a hindrance in people's interest or ability to pursue energy improvements. So we're going to give a general overview of rebates, tax incentives, and ways to finance these technologies we've covered. One benefit of going through HeatSmart is the ability to talk with an installer partner about your unique financial situation to help you take full advantage of government incentives. Most of the financial programs we will discuss are based on income. New York's program run through NYSERDA called Empower has two different brackets, low and moderate income. Households whose income falls 60% of the area median income, or AMI, for Broome County qualify for the Low Income Empower program. Households whose income is between 60 and 80% of the AMI qualify for the Moderate Income program. At the federal level, the income levels are broader, with low income being any household below 80% AMI and moderate income being any household earning 80 to 150% of AMI. These different programs come with different benefits, which we will talk about more in a few slides. The reasons these programs delineate by income is because lower income households will receive more support to improve accessibility to energy efficiency technologies, which are traditionally unattainable to many households. In order to tell which income bracket you fall into, take a look at this chart, which shows area median income, or AMI, for Broome, Shenango, Tioga, and Delaware counties. In the leftmost column is the number of people in your household, and if you track over to the right, you can see the maximum income level that would qualify for 60% of the area median income, 80% of AMI, and 150% of AMI. Now that we've talked about the different income brackets and the programs that apply to those income brackets, let's talk about the financial incentive programs that are dependent on your income. First off, at the federal level, there are rebates available which reduce the upfront costs of a project. For air sealing and insulation, which are weatherization projects, low-income households, those below 80% of the area median income, qualify for 100% of their projects to be covered up to $1,600. Moderate income households, 80 to 150% AMI, qualify for half of their project costs to be covered up to the same amount. For air source heat pumps, low-income households can get full project coverage up to $8,000, and moderate-income households can get half project costs covered up to the same amount. Heat pump water heaters have a limit of 1,750, and again, low-income households can get full project costs covered, and moderate income can get half project costs covered. New York State's rebate program, Empower, gives access to funds to cover 100% of project costs for a full energy audit, air sealing, insulation, heat pumps, heat pump water heaters, and electrical service and wiring upgrades. This applies to both homeowners and can apply to renters in buildings of up to 4 units. For households below 60% of the area median income, up to $10,000 is available. For households from 60% to 80% of area median income, up to $5,000 is available. As of last summer 2024, if you are on natural gas, you would not qualify for heat pumps. We're hoping by later this year, 2025, these customers will qualify for heat pumps, but you would still qualify for tax credits, NYSEG, and federal rebates. We also want to make people aware of the Home Energy Assistance Program, HEAP, run through the New York State Office of Temporary Disability Assistance for low-income renters and homeowners who may need help with their energy bills or are facing heat shutoffs. Emergency funding is available. You may also qualify for regular assistance to clean, repair, or replace your heating system. Funds are expected to reopen later this year. HEAP may be able to help you if you heat your home with electricity, natural gas, oil, coal, propane, wood/wood pellets, kerosene, and corn. Benefits are based on income, household size, the primary heating source, and the presence of a household member who is under the age of 6, age 60 or older, or permanently disabled. Now I'll pass it
Hello,
on to
everyone.
Noah. Sorry about that.
Oh, thank you, Carlos. Hello, everyone. My name is Noah, and I'm going to be going over income independent incentives. So these are geared more towards market rate customers and are not as dependent on income level. So for rebates for the energy efficiency projects, they're often available through utilities. So in our area, NYSEG offers funds for all of our heat pump technologies. So for an air source heat pump, you can get $800 per 10,000 British thermal units, which are also known as BTUs, of your heat pump system. You may be able to get up to $1,200 if you also fully decommission your old heating system. If your home needs a larger system, you would be eligible for more funds. So for example, if you had a 20,000 BTU system, you could qualify for up to $1,600. For a ground source heat pump, there is a $1,500 rebate per 10,000 BTU and about a $700 rebate for a heat pump water heater. Comfort Home is another state-run NYSERDA program. Through Comfort Home, you can qualify for different amounts of money based on the improvements you decide to do. So you would receive a free consultation, and then if you seal and insulate your attic and rim joists, which are the most important places to insulate in a home, you could qualify for $1,600. If you then also insulate walls and floors, you would qualify for $3,000. And finally, if you seal and insulate attic and rim joists, insulate walls and floors, and then also upgrade your windows, you could qualify for $4,000. Now we're going to move on to state and federal tax credits. Tax credits are helpful if you tend to owe money on your taxes. New York State offers a tax credit for 25% of projects, costs up to $5,000 for ground source heat pumps. The federal government offers a tax credit of 30% of project costs up to $1,200 for weatherization. So if you need to do more than $1,200 worth of weatherization work, you could do $1,200 worth of weatherization work in 1 year, claim the tax credit, and do more work the following year and claim the credit again. There is a 30% tax credit up to $2,000 per year for air source heat pumps and heat pump water heaters. Ground source heat pumps are also eligible for a tax credit equal to 30% of the project cost, and that has no cap. These tax credits are non-refundable and can't be used. Sorry, I was still on the. Thank you. These tax credits are non-refundable and can't be used to increase your tax refund or to create a tax refund when you wouldn't already have one. Also, it's important to note that tax credits depend on the household tax liability, and that definitive advice on that must come from your tax professional. There's also a host of financing options available if these incentive programs don't cover all project costs. Excuse me. NYSERDA offers 2 different loans, the Smart Energy Loan and the On-Bill Recovery Loan. Both have the same conditions, but the on-bill recovery loan is paid on your utility bill over time. The monthly payment for the loan is designed to be equal or less than the projected savings provided by the energy improvement project, so your overall expenses should not increase. You can also get a loan through a home improvement lender like Synchrony or Enerbank. And local banks can also offer loans specifically for home improvement and energy costs. There are a couple temporary funding opportunities that can help with projects on top of all the other incentives we've discussed. So customers of New York's Empower program who find that they need to make other home improvements, such as a knob and tube remediation or roof repairs, before making energy efficiency upgrades may qualify for gap funding to pay for those improvements. NYSEG has an additional pilot program for market rate customers for insulation or for air sealing, and the sealed program can provide a rebate towards attic insulation. Thank you.
Thank you, Noah. I'm Fatima, and I'll be talking about a few more financial incentives available that could help lower your energy costs. So first, there are federal rebates and tax credits available to upgrade your electric panel/breaker box. Additionally, there are rebates to upgrade your electrical wiring for all income levels. These could be helpful if you have older wiring or are upgrading to an all-electric heating and cooling system. If you're not ready to make major upgrades on your home, but would still like to make some energy efficient upgrades, you could get rebates on heat pump clothes dryers, electric or induction stoves, and a tax credit on efficient air conditioners. As much as we would love public transport to be robust enough to support us all, the reality is that most of us need personal vehicles. If you're considering purchasing a new or used electric vehicle, there are federal tax credits available to reimburse you on some of those costs. These have certain criteria to qualify, such as your income and the price of the vehicle. If you're considering solar panels for your roof, New York and the federal government both offer tax credits. New York State offers a 25% tax credit up to $5,000, and the federal government offers a 30% tax credit with no price cap. New York also has a rebate program called New York Sun that provides 20 cents per watt installed of solar or 80 cents for low and moderate income qualified households. So now we'll work through an example of what these incentives would actually look like. Let's say you get the 20 cent per watt incentive through New York Sun. If you install a 5,000 kilowatt system, which is estimated to cost about $15,000, you would receive a $1,000 rebate. If you were then eligible for the non-refundable state and federal tax credits, you could bring your net project cost down to about $6,000. Again, we would like to provide the disclaimer that the tax credits depend on your household tax liability and that definitive advice on that must come from your tax professional. Last but not least, we would like to mention that we are working on developing a community solar project in the Southern Tier. Community solar allows you to subscribe to solar without installing anything. Instead of what you might normally envision for solar, which is putting panels directly on your roof, you'll receive credit for supporting an off-site solar array. This is great for people with barriers to installing traditional solar, such as your location, whether you're a renter or your income. For our current project with Nexamp, a community solar developer and manager, everyone could get 10% savings on the electricity portion of their NYSEG bill by subscribing. If you're situated in a NYSERDA disadvantaged community or are enrolled in a government assistance program such as SNAP, you may qualify for up to 20% of savings. So that was a lot of information. How do you actually get started in deciding what improvements are best for you in your home and how you can pay for them? We are here to help with that. If you are interested in anything that we discussed tonight, these are the general steps you would take to participate in our HeatSmart program. You would always start with a free home energy assessment that tests the energy efficiency of your home. You will then receive a quote for improvements. You can then apply incentives and sign a contract for the systems you want to install. Before this point, there is no commitment. If you already know that you'd like to get started, we would be happy to sign anyone up tonight. Signing up doesn't commit you to anything, it just helps us help you. And we are here to help you find out which improvements are best suited for your home and recommend you to the right installer partners. So that concludes our HeatSmart presentation. Please feel free to ask any questions, and thank you.
Great. Awesome work, everyone. Now we'd like to open it up for any questions. I'll stop my screen share. So I believe, Frank, you're our only additional guest on this call. So if the floor is yours, if you'd like to ask any questions, go for it.
No, my big interest is it seems like I'm seeing a lot of changes in technology with heat pumps, and it kind of makes you wonder when you should jump in. I'm not ready to jump in on anything right now. That sort of passed me up a little bit. I'm getting older and I'll probably be moving from this home within the next couple of years, so I don't really want to make a big investment. But it just seems like the heat pump technology is improving all the time. So many times you hear it wasn't good for anything below 40 degrees in temperature, and now it's getting closer to zero, I guess. But I would just like to hear what you have to say about that, your team has to say about that.
Yeah, we definitely this comes up a lot discussing, especially since we're in a colder area. A lot of people are often concerned about making the switch to a heat pump because it gets so cold up here. But thankfully, like you had just said, um, excuse me, heat pump technologies, specifically ground source heat pumps, have gotten very efficient in heating at these sub-freezing levels. And so now we actually spoke with a contractor a couple weeks ago about this because often you have to replace your entire your old heating system to cash in on some of the low income credits that exist. And so um, the benefit of the heat pumps now is that you don't really need these older systems in your home to provide that extra day or two of load for like 0 degree weather. The normal heat pumps that are installed now can withstand such cold freezing temperatures. So yeah, you're very right to talk about how these technologies have improved, have become more efficient, and if you are ever concerned when you're getting in your new home, concerned about whether your heat pump will be able to take on the capacity and the load for the weather in your area. That'd be a conversation with your installer. These installers, specifically the ones we work with, want to work with you to give you the best bang for your buck and the best heating system size. And so that's why we always recommend an energy audit and that home energy assessment first to first find out, are your windows properly insulated? Are there any gaps in your insulation and your rim joints? Because oftentimes in the past, heat pumps were prescribed to homes that maybe weren't properly insulated or had poor windows. And so you have a system that isn't fit to your home properly. And there may be either an overload or an underload on the system. But nowadays, at least the installers we work with, they're a lot more technical and take it down to a science. And they make sure that the heating capacity and load on your electricity can both handle the temperatures that your home will need and also make sure that your panel, your electrical grid, your electrical panel can handle the heat pump that you're installing, which is also another reason why there's those rebates for electrical wiring and panel upgrades. As we highly recommend if you're going to get a heat pump, that you have a panel that can handle around at least 200 amps. So a long-winded way to say that, yes, you're right. They have improved. The technology is getting better, and now they can withstand 0 degree Fahrenheit.
Thank you. What kind of cost can one expect? I understand there's a lot of variables, but with a ground source heat pump, I
Yeah,
have.
so
Oh, go ahead.
okay, so definitely cost varies on, like you're saying, size of house, pre-existing conditions, the total capacity that you need. But just to give you an example, our boss, Adam, who's usually on these calls, he had gotten a ground source system put into his home. And his home is I'd say 4 bedroom, 3 bedrooms. 5 people live in it, large size. And he was looking at around a $20,000 system, but he got the 30% federal tax credit on that. So he was able to get $6,000 back from the federal government, which he was able to get was he was then able to use to pay toward um, some of his taxes that he had for different projects. So um, the cost of a project varies per person. It's almost you could have the exact same setup in a home and compare it to another space, and it will vary depending on um, your income thresholds. So, so cost of these projects vary house to house to house, but typically ground source heat pumps are looking in the range of the mid 20,000 range. But there's that 30% tax credit that you can reclaim.
Thank you.
Good question. And then so you had mentioned that, you're not looking to get on any programs right now. However, something that could be good for the short, and there's no fee to sign up, no fee to get off, is the community solar project. What that is if you can't put solar directly on your home, either for the same reason of you're moving and you don't want to invest here, or you have too much shade cover, or some other type of reason, community solar is a solar subscription program where you would pay toward like crowdfunding of panels, and then you would get a percentage of energy credit back onto your bill. And the savings come out to a minimum of 10% annually. And so it's 10% automatic savings on your electrical bill. And if you qualify, either if you live in a disenfranchised community or if you use SNAP or EBT benefits, you would be eligible for 20% off of your electrical bill. but this is completely free to sign up, free to get off of, and one of the better programs that we recommend since it can kind of follow you around house to house to house. You just have to let Nexamp know, hey, I'm moving locations.
I'm fortunately one of those strange ones. I'm not with NYSEG. I'm with an electric co-op, and
Okay.
we're very fortunate. A very high percentage of ours is hydro, and I do round up to go all green, and it only cost me a couple bucks a month, usually extra, to do that.
Well, I am envious. That's a great
Yeah,
program.
this winter was a challenge though because of the extreme cold, and the co-op had to go over its allocation of hydro quite a bit and go on market rates. So those who were heating with electric or had to a high reliance on electricity, their rates probably doubled overall, at least.
Yeah, it was definitely a much colder winter this year. And on top of that, the utilities have been increasing the rates for both gas and electric. So a lot of people saw some increases in their bills this season for sure. Excuse me, this year for sure.
It hit me. I had to burn at least two more cords of wood
Jeez.
from my 100-acre forest. So I'm lucky right now. Very very fortunate that way.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So, do you have any other questions?
Not for me, no, thank you.
Great. Awesome. I think with that, we're going to wrap up our webinar. Thank you so much, Frank, for being on the call, and thank you so much to our fantastic Energy Core interns for a lovely presentation. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to end the recording.